There we go.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We are going to call our library building committee meeting to order. Thank everybody for being here. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Old business, we have minutes from November 13th, 10 full pages of them.
And I'll move approval of them, then I have a correction.
All right,
And I'll
move to
second.
approve by our one and only Bob and seconded by Lois. Corrections.
On page 8.
Page 8. Yes.
It says Jeff Brown stated the parking area in the buildings for handicap and family parking. I think I'm the one that stated that. Minor people that.
Okay.
Now, which Jeff Brown?
We're in the matrix.
Actually, with everybody, Jeff Brown's from all of them.
Thank you for that. I had one. Page 3.
Okay.
Page 3, about 3/4 of the way down. COP 43 says premium time allotment number 1 is being worked and has a $0 allowance. I think it should read premium time allotment number 1 is being worked from the contract allowance. I think the intent was that we're not going to see any
I'll go back and
change order.
check the recording.
But for clarity's sake, are you?
Correct. Like for subcontractors, I have to.
Yeah, I mean, we have an allowance for it. So. Lois?
And under questions, Patrick had a question about the delivery date. But there was delivery date for what was not included. I think it was.
Do you know where that was in the minutes?
It's under questions, Patrick's question.
Okay.
There's a list of questions.
Under,
I'm not
sure,
sure.
there's questions under each area that we talked about, so.
And can someone send Jesse the link
It's the third question.
while we're looking here?
On
Patrick
page
DiLorenzo
3.
requested that the delivery date be shared with the committee once it is known. And the delivery date for what was my question.
Is it underneath the, what section is it underneath? The bricks?
Page 3.
Page 3.
Under
About a third of the way down, under questions, the last question.
Right there.
Oh, Patrick requested delivery date. Okay, so.
Yeah, for the bridge. It's underneath the bridge.
Oh, yeah, the
It's underneath
bridge.
the question. It's
We were
underneath
talking
the bridge stuff.
Because we might want to go and, I think what it was is we wanted to go maybe and see it, watch the
Yes.
action take place.
That's why, because those questions
So Anthony's
refer
gonna
to the
give
line
us-
above it.
We got it
That's
right
why
now,
it's
tentative
indented
date, December
underneath it.
20th.
Okay, let's stay with the minutes.
Freezing.
Who am I sending the link to?
Jesse.
Just adds the ambiance.
Just let them know it's on its way.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments on the minutes? All right, all in favor of approving minutes as corrected, please say aye.
Aye.
Who's,
That sounds like Bob.
yeah, is Bob like one of the Jeff Browns?
Yeah, it's one of the yeses. I just got in. I got an old link, a new link, then I just got the regular link. I just got
Okay.
in.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Yeah, Bob, Mike, all right. All right, next, let's go on to our reports. Project update from Downs. Got Anthony here. Scott's on the line.
I'm gonna share my screen, go through the agenda like we usually do, and finish up with some pictures of progress. First things first, I'd like to just tackle some general schedule items per se. The large wall mock-up of brick has been installed with the required behind wall details. TSKP will provide a formal review once the window frame and the parging is complete. Those are 2 little tasks that we have remaining on that aesthetically to take a look at. Interior mock-up has been completed within room 213 for finishes. We have the ceiling installed for review and approval by TSKP, grid and ceiling tiles, ceiling pads. We have a radiant panel that's coming in as well, that's in the ceiling. So we're using that room as a standard office interior finish mock-up, but there will be other smaller mock-ups throughout the space in different areas that we'd like Jeff and the TSKP team to review before we move any farther. Interior finishes, they are very critical and very stringent on what's required to get this building for the high level of detail that they provided us to build to. So we're gonna take our time, and we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna make sure everything's done the right way and the best way, to come together as a team as possible. Permanent power should be active this week. Maybe first thing on Monday. We did get some Eversource feedback today. They hit a little snag on their end. They did show up to the site, but there was an excavator in the way, so they decided to pull off the job without contacting Jason Smith, our site superintendent, to move that excavator. So we're hoping to get them back out there by the end of this week, first thing on Monday, and we should have permanent power. That is a huge milestone. This activates the other two temporary heaters to keep the space conditioned. And it will suffice for our millwork installations once we start that. The new gas lines and the meter have been installed by CNG. They have been inspected. Everything's passed. Our temporary heat units will be tied into that meter set. This way we're drawing obviously the gas to keep these things fired up and the space conditioned within the interior of the building. Van Zelm continues to review documents and meeting attendance and site walkthroughs as we continue to progress with MEP installations and the current construction schedule. Going down to the main building, Prosser site work is continuing with grading and elevation points for our new driveway into the garage at the north side. The south side still has a little bit of work because we are using that for vehicle traffic, construction vehicles in and out of the building. They also continue with the installation of the trench drains on both ends of the garage. That's quite a process going forward in installation. Backfilling the retaining walls and plaza walls is in progress. As you can see, if you've driven past it, we did excavate for the plaza. We did install concrete footings and foundations. We're going to keep continuing moving forward after the excavation has taken place. Masonry blockwork is completed at the stair 2 at the north side of the building. Interior face brick at the interior columns is about 90% complete. They should be in and out of there on the last column by the end of this week. This will allow and open up space for our stair number 3 installation, which is the center monumental stair, let's call it. The reason why we pushed that off is because we wanted to get that brick installed. We didn't want to double up trade contractors in the same area. So once the mason gets in and gets out, cleans up that area, our Miss Metals subcontractor will be in installing that stair. Masonry air and vapor barrier will remain on the remaining elevations within the next few weeks here. They're going to finish the brick, get the brick started and finish the brick on the west elevation, then move to the north side with some standard, what's the word I'm looking for, scaffolding. Because of the heating and the tenting that's required. It doesn't work so well with the hydromobile that they got on the west side, but they will keep that hydromobile there. They will tent it accordingly. We will provide them the heat and they will install the brick moving forward. Once that lintel work is also corrected, that we kind of briefly touched upon before the meeting started. The remaining roof work at the mechanical areas is all done. The low roof has been completed. Spray fireproofing has also been completed within the garage area. Once we get that third heater on, we are going to enclose the garage area. We would need to bring that up to temperature for the application of the spray fireproofing. All mechanical systems above ceiling down in that garage level are completed. Alrighty, spray foam's a big one to get done because this will allow us to start the actual ceiling grid and tile installation within that garage area. Interior wall layout and framing has been completed on the second level and main level. Drywall has also been substantially complete on all levels throughout. They have some miscellaneous areas to hit. We left them off to finish some plumbing items and whatnot. Interior taping of drywall joints is about 95% completed on the second level. That will be 100% once they finish some of the minor areas of sheetrock to place. We did start in areas where we were able to sand and tape already, on the second level, which is priming paint. If you walk the building and go up there, we do have walls that are white, ready to go for, there are a couple coats of finished paint, still too early to do that. Fire protection main pipelines and branch lines are continuing to be installed. We're making minor adjustments accordingly to make sure that system is good and kosher with everything other above ceiling items, along with the installation of the ceiling on the main atrium level once that time comes. The dry fire protection system has also been installed, as well as the chemical fire protection system. So those are pretty much good to go. We just need to start getting them finalized, tested, and inspected, going. They do have to come back, and at the time, once we drop the ceiling tiles in, they'll be finishing the scutcheons and whatnot in the ceiling. Going down the list here, continuing, plumbing drainage lines are all tied into the roof drains. Insulation has been completed on the horizontal runs of pipe. As you'll see when we get to the COP or PCO section of this, there is going to be a credit on the vertical drops based on conversations with RZ and Bob Mara, who is a Van Zelm commissioning agent. In-wall plumbing has been completed and inspected second level. Main level continues with final installations, prior inspections. Those are in a handful of bathrooms. We need a spray, not spray, but a fire caulk, some through floor penetrations and through wall penetrations and any rated walls. Mechanical piping is continuing to be installed on the second level and main level. They're pretty close to being finished with all of that. Ductwork is continuing with installations, final installations on the second level within the mechanical spaces, as well as the outdoor space. All ductwork that has been installed has been insulated as much as they can. VAVs have all been installed and connected to the ductwork lines throughout the building. HVAC controls rough-ins are continuing. RTUs and boilers are set to be delivered early next week. With that being said, we may have to push that due to our Eversource snafu we had this morning where they contact Jason. So that might have to be pushed out a little bit, but we're trying to work through that and see what we could do. But to get the RTUs and boilers tied in another month or two, well, we'd like to get those things fired up as soon as we can on the permanent systems within the building. Electrical conduit runs continue to be installed on all levels. They're pretty much good to go. As we know, permanent power should have been processed and put on this week, but again, that goes back to my Eversource story. Fire alarm and communication rough-ins are ongoing as well. We're going to try and engage the fire marshal for a complete system loop once the time comes. Have a little coordination meeting involved with that. Anybody have any questions so far?
Questions? Any hands raised there, Joe?
I see. No.
Okay.
All right, let's keep swimming.
Continue.
Right on. Riley lot, subgrade work has been completed on the Riley lot. That is contract, and that is all that change order work that has happened. It has been compacted, it has been inspected, it's been completed. The Riley lot concrete curbing has also been installed and completed, and if you drive by, you'll be able to see a nice coat of black binder asphalt down before the winter months, which is great. Bridge delivery and installation is tentative for December 20th. Merry Christmas. Hopefully we could get that in. There's no snow, hopefully, in the forecast on that date. We'll be able to get it through. There is some coordination work that our electrician has to do. There is conduit that goes underneath the bridge before it gets erected to supply power to the site lighting as well as the EV stations for the electric vehicles.
So you can put a string of lights on the bridge then.
I was thinking
When
about
you're
thinking about a Christmas tree on there too, right in the middle.
Ah,
Is it coming in one piece?
It's coming in 3 pieces. They erect it on the ground, assemble it, so they snap together and they bolt. I'll show you some pictures of it when we get to that. But it should be a fairly, hopefully, quick and simple installation. All our dimensions and all our layout for all the bridge abutments connecting to the building need to be very precise. So let's say a couple prayers for that day. Anybody have any questions in regards to Riley lot?
Yeah, once the trailers move, they're gonna pay the rest of it there.
That it does not get paid for our trailers, our field offices.
Oh, that doesn't.
No. gets rip wrapped and some stone and some plantings, I believe, that's it.
Okay. Where on the Raleigh property are the electric EV stations going to be?
They're gonna be due on the other side of the bridge abutment,
Next
on the
to it
back,
or
on the
further?
back,
Further
further back to it.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, we also have been in talks, with Manafort. We might be able, and I'll talk about that in the chamber section. But anybody have any questions on Riley?
There is other subgrade work, correct, for at the stairs and ramp at the base of the bridge.
Correct, and around the perimeter outside the curb. Right, all the fine grading and subgrade work for the parking lot and the paving has been completed, but yes, they still own grading and finished grading for all the landscaping and for all.
We just say subgrade work has been completed on the Riley.
Yeah, I'll say subgrade work for paving.
For paving, thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
Patrick.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Anthony, the paving though, is that the final coat or
No.
will there be another layer?
Springtime, there'll be another layer. with the
Springtime.
heavy
2
duty
inches down and 2 more inches to go.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So it seems to me, Bob raised a good question, and Johnny, I don't know if he's on, but Johnny really explained, because we had that question. Why is this whole, we saw that curbing and then all the stone. So we didn't realize, or I didn't recall from the diagrams that whole section would not be paved.
Correct.
And Johnny explained why and about the drainage and that's not going to be a walkable area. Be not open to the public, but what was my question? Yeah, I think I was just asked, so that work won't be done until, springtime, I guess, yeah. And will there be dirt put in there because it's all?
I believe it's probably gonna bring in some topsoil for the plantings and for grass and all that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what's on the landscaping plan for that
Yeah.
area. But yes, like
Because
Mark said, that I'll change that subgrade work to subgrade work for the parking lot itself.
Yeah.
But if you noticed, when you drive past, Manafort's still working on the edge perimeter. They have swales to put in, they have bark mulch beds,
Yeah,
they have timber framed guardrails. So there's quite a lot of work Manafort still has to do.
Yeah, maybe,
on the
Right.
perimeter.
Maybe Jeff, maybe at a future meeting, you can walk us through that parking lot because when I was, surprised too, when just seeing it,
yeah,
I didn't remember the
right,
section that is not paved.
right,
But I never questioned the plan,
Right.
so I'm sure it's a good.
Yeah, I
plan.
mean, I can certainly do that. Just
Yeah, in a
quickly though,
future
I
meeting.
think, yeah, okay.
It
But
just
I know
seemed-
that area, just to start it off though, that area is to be a planted area with some lawns so that it's not an entirely asphalt area, but there's a series of nice plantings and stuff sort of capturing the anchoring of the bridge. So it's sort of a transition between the bridge and the library. So there's a lot of plantings over there.
And that was actually on the plan that they showed us at the owners meeting on
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's all on the plan.
Yeah. But.
But seeing it
Yeah.
live is, we're seeing these things for the first time, so.
Right, but it does look like the majority of the parking is way in the back, so when you drive in, there's parking on either side, but it doesn't look like a lot. You gotta go
It
all the way
widens
to the
up,
back,
it widens up past
and
the
then it
bridge.
widens up past the
Correct,
bridge, right?
correct.
But if you park in that front area, I guess you have to come out through the entrance. and
There's
walk
still
on.
gonna be there, Manafort still owns, some flat work, which is sidewalks.
Okay, so it'll be sidewalks.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, sorry, Bob, go ahead.
So they still have to pave the entrance to it, to
The apron, correct.
Right.
Yes, yep. Springtime.
Yeah.
That happens with the finish.
Yeah.
Top coat.
Okay,
Okay, you ready? Moving down the list, section B here, requisitions and change order proposals. Tonight, I am looking for committee approval for our November 2024 requisition in the amount of $1,684,241.96.
I think we can handle that now.
balance.
This is the one that had all the detail in it about.
It's the 122 page.
yep, yeah.
So I have a few questions.
Well, I'll make a motion then that we approve the requisition for November 2024 in the amount of $1,684,241 0.9.
Second,
Moved by Patrick, second by Mr. I. Thank you. Discussion. Lois?
I see that there's a balance for lead of $826.
Yeah.
Where are we with lead?
That's for our consultant. Cynthia comes on to every OAC meeting. We're in exemplary performance for lead at this time. We do have to clean up a little bit of paperwork on the design team's end and on our end for waste management, some subcontractors with recycled content and some final lead submittals. But right now, we might be getting a couple extra lead points because of the exemplary performance.
But all the paperwork is getting done and submitted. That's not something that happens later
Nope, it happens during
as we're
the,
going along.
Correct.
Okay, so if that's done, we're maybe ahead of the game. Okay.
We're learning, I'm learning a lot about it. It's a constant progression as the construction continues. And the consultants go online and file a lot of things, and the contractors are filing different reports as well. So that's Cynthia's job, is to keep everybody on track, to keep all the filings up to date. But she says we're.
and we still have money left over because at the end of the day, once the project's done, she still has to formally submit it to Lead Online. So that's why that's additional. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I sent you some information about the weather system. I don't see that in the whole list anywhere.
The submittal was.
The submittal was basically approved, so we're proceeding accordingly.
I don't see any budget list, any. It's not
Because
broken out, where would it
It's,
be?
it's not broken out on those schedule values. It would be, I think, believe in our electrician's requisition. But I don't think he broke it out as a separate line item per se on his schedule
Okay,
values.
but there's no problem with it. It's
There's no
done.
problem with it. That's a done deal.
And solar.
Solar, we have, per our contract, we own conduit stub ups, empty conduits up to the roof, and that's where we stopped. But I think Joe may have.
Solar update is the same as it's always been. Connecticut Green Bank is in charge of all of that, and the auction is not until February. That has not changed and won't change until after the first week of February.
And is that in time for the project?
Yes. Who's late, Tom? They said that.
Yes, and regardless, it wouldn't matter because it would still be able to run it on electrical.
Correct.
anyways.
We have
It would be
we have
done later
a blank
because-
pathway for them to use.
Right, because of what Don says prepared for it.
Yeah, the provisions are in place for them to do
Correct.
their work.
Thank you.
Anthony, the weather station is listed,
Is it listed? Oh, fantastic. Good catch, John.
$2,950
Beautiful.
on ECI's contract.
Awesome.
Do we have a motion on the application for payment? Any other questions or comments? Joe, any hands up there?
There is no other hands up, and we had the motion by Patrick and Bob.
Okay. If there's no more comments, then all in favor of approving the application for payment number 17, say aye.
aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? We are unanimous. Okay.
I do want to say a
Motion
special,
passes.
thank you. I do want to say a special thank you to Jeff on his vacation. He was able to sign the requisition and get it back to me. So I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you. All right, going down, budget and pending COPs. So we're gonna go down the list here. I have some new ones. I have some ones that are going for official approval tonight, but we'll get through it. COP 29, I am still continuing to track money for the impacted soils from those utility trenches, which were pretty much all done. I'm just waiting on the final number to come in from Manafort. I do want to just, obviously tracking the $30,000 conservative number, hopefully at this time, to coordinate with our budget.
Do we know they were impacted?
They were 100% impacted, yes. They were tested by GeoQuest as the soils came out, and we sent them to Red Tech. COP 34 DOT paving requirements. Again, I'm just holding this number there for a budget. I don't believe this paving is going to happen this season. It's going to be happening in the springtime. I hope at the end of the day, this paving requirement from the DOT could be null and void. So we're trying to work with the inspector to get that taken off the list. That would be a nice chunk of change to get back for the town. COP 35, the plaza entrance modifications, still tracking $17,000. I believe that's going to be reduced significantly. Manafort didn't have any costs there. Our mason has, I think it was a $5,000 cost there for some stone as well as some additional rebar. But at the end of the day, that would be it. So hopefully this COP or 35 could be basically cut in half, maybe even more. COP 36 Washbrook invasive controls. That PR was sent out to the team. Still working with Glenn on DPW tasks that could be taken care of. Once we solidify all that, I could go back to our subcontractors and work out a number with them. I know Jeff Paricchio and Glenn were on site today reviewing that, so we talked to them a little bit on that in that regard. Ductwork modifications for overflow drain. I'm still tracking $2,500, but I think next meeting I'll be able to take this off the list in full. Shouldn't be any cost there for that. COP 39 was the Eversource permanent power location and all the added requirements. I believe that this $10,000 can be adjusted. The quasi box was not needed. We did order it. We do have it on site. I have asked the electrician for a restocking fee. So that will probably take a big chunk of change off of this $10,000 as well. Premium time allowance allotment, number one, for our subcontractors, that's going to be a zero cost. Like Mark said earlier in the meeting, we have an allowance established in our GMP for that. I want to track that accordingly. Unforeseen utility conflict under Tungus Avenue. I'm waiting for Manafort to finalize all the obstructions that they hit that we've talked about for all the Tungus under the ground, Tungus Avenue and Mountain Avenue utility work. There was a lot of stuff on the not shown on the call before you dig as-built that we bumped into, which slowed them down. They had extra police detail because it was all night shift work. They had police detail, DOT inspectors, MDC inspectors, so on and so forth. We did track that on, I believe, time and material for Jason, list of tasks with pictures, but it was a pretty messy operation for a couple nights, 4 or 5 nights. So I'm still tracking that accordingly. I want to finalize a number with Manafort on that since they're all done finally. We have a small one here with actual cost of $925 for a display rail modification change. It was, I believe, Jeff, it was an enhancement to a display rail that was a change from the original specification. We believe that this is a totally better product. I think, Jeff, I don't know if you have anything else to elaborate on that.
Where is that?
Jeff, you're muted.
Yeah, I think that came up kind of late in the game with the library staff in terms of having in the children's area more of a rotating display system and not a permanent mural system. So I think that was basically the change. The rest of the slotted systems.
What is it, Jeff?
Well, it's like one of those slip in, slip out sort of art rails. You know, it's
So it's
I don't know, we'll have to
hanging-
pull, I can't remember off the top of my head. We'll have to pull that COP up if we want to get into the detail. I don't have it memorized.
Okay, well,
But I think maybe Elizabeth or somebody could join in because I think there was a concern early on. Well, they first were going to do these murals, but then they wanted a art display in the children's area that was more of a they could actually have it rotating and have new work come in and come out and be a flexible display system.
That's correct. I remember that conversation. But the other part of that discussion was how far off the ground it would be because they were putting cabinets underneath it.
Yeah, Jeanette had figured all that out with the library staff, so whatever they needed is in there.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Elizabeth?
Yeah,
Elizabeth, did you
that
have
was quite some time ago, but that is my recollection.
Okay,
All right. COP 47, column line 4 modifications. This was ASI 14. We tracked some pricing of some revised steel modifications that were required along this line. T&M tickets, we're solidifying that with Berlin Steel, but I have a budget number of $10,000 in there currently for that work. COP 48, 49, and 50, we have discussions with RZ, the mechanical engineer of record on this project, where we do not have to insulate the vertical rain leaders, the vertical risers for the rain leaders. I'm showing a budget credit of $7,500. That might go up. Cast iron gas piping to mega press. Cast iron is a little bit more intricate, a little bit more costly, a little bit more labor intensive because there's welding requirements. Again, I'm showing a $7,500 budget credit. I'm hoping to get more than that at this time. And then we have a typo here in COP, should be capital P. COP number 50, which is a credit of Stanford Wrecking reconciled abatement allowance established in their contract. We are not demoing, we are not abating anymore. I think this might be a good time to credit back an unused allowance established in their contract of $25,761 coming back to the agency.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my understanding on COP 47, that some of these costs are attributable to some of the trade contractors.
There was talk maybe a half an inch on some slab work that might have been poured too high, too low. We do have Tri-State that comes in. It does a floor flatness test, a floor slab flatness test, which all have checked out. Where the discrepancy is the structural drawings show the top of steel at 7'5". That was installed, fabricated and installed at that 7'5" dimension to top of steel from off a slab. And the architectural drawings, which what is needed, showed the top of steel at 7'7". So we had to spend labor to take that horizontal brace off, move it up 2 inches to that 7'7" mark.
Okay, well, I think it's worthy of some more discussion, and whether it comes out of the CM contingency or et cetera. So while it's still a budget item, I think it deserves some more conversation.
Yeah, we tracked it also, to be fair, we tracked it on time and material, substantiated the labor hours and the material used through Jason supervising that work.
Okay.
So the components of that are that the steel wasn't quite right, that the concrete wasn't quite right.
No, this is a different,
This is a different
this
thing.
is a different issue. This is interior,
Piece of steel.
this is interior, first floor, the line running down, line of steel running down as you walk into the building on the left above the new circulation desk, that whole wall. The steel was installed 2 inches below where it needed to be installed. And there was conflicting information between general.
So can I say something,
some set of
Anthony?
drawings and another set of.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Jeff.
But I really want to take this outside the meeting so you guys can, hash this out, outside the meeting.
Okay,
So steel got installed 2 inches too low. It had to be raised 2 inches, maybe 10 pieces or so, something like that. And that's what this cost is, to raise those pieces of steel up 2 inches.
the only thing I'd like to say though, if I can, Anthony, is I walked the site with Jason, when was it? Yesterday. And we noticed that they didn't do the welding the way that was given to them. They found a simpler, quicker way, and I realize now the way they did it is the way they had to do it because the columns are all kind of crooked. So we'll have this discussion further in more detail separately offline.
Yeah, nice tell the public, Jeff, that our columns are crooked. Can you modify that statement to a little more professional?
Within tolerance.
Yeah, there's some discussion about the position of the columns relative to the center line of column line 4. And when Tai Su was out there, and then I came out separately, Jason had a question in terms of the framing of the walls in between the columns and the horizontal tube that was raised. And to get the wall to appear straight, it would have to be skewed, offset from that tube. But we all agreed to keep it centered on the tube per the contract documents, and then we'll have to figure out how to deal with the column covers on the columns.
Okay, so it's,
My concern is that the town not paying for mistakes.
right, we should not be
And that's-
penalized by mistakes.
That's
So
what I would
that's-
like to say.
Right,
And if part of that cost is to remove something that was in the wrong place and that took labor, it's still not the town's problem.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I think it's a little more complicated. Well, I think we need to.
It should be simple for people who are listening.
Yes.
That's what I understand.
If it comes down to that, that is
Yes.
true. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry to, pick at that scab, but
It's okay. I mean,
It needed-
it's a discussion that needed to be there. It's,
we'll
You know.
continue. So,
right.
okay.
And it is our job. That's why we sit here.
Okay, you may continue.
All right, with all that being said, updated contingency has gone up from our last meeting. Right now, we sit at $433,600.
And just to confirm, that is inclusive of everything we see in writing here on this report.
Correct. Okay. What was it, Patrick?
I saw 476 at the last meeting.
But that 476 did not include the expenditure at the atrium. Remember? All four
Patrick, I had some questions on that, so I hadn't put it into the budget yet, and then that got resolved after the meeting. So it went down to 400, and then now it's up to 433.
Right, with these 3 additions of 40,761.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right, thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
What I am looking for approval tonight on is COP 42, which is our wonderful friends at the MDC requiring a new backflow preventer that was different than what was put in the specifications and bought out. This $6,332 shows a credit of the original and the ad for the new, and the difference was $6,332. Obviously, we have our overhead and profit, our markup and whatnot in there. But I am looking for approval tonight on $6,332 for the MDC required backflow preventer per COP 42.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, second by Mr. Berman. Discussion. Mr. Berman.
This is an item we really had no choice on. Forced on us by the MDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know that the cost has been reviewed by all appropriate parties here.
Yep, this got reviewed by RZ George Late over there, as well as Jeff.
All right. Questions, comments? All in favor of approving change order proposal number 42, $6,332. Please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to put a caveat out there before we put any official COPs in this section. They have gone through the checks of the design team, TSKP, and of course their consultants, whoever, that trade is affected by. All right.
The document that was sent out that I saw was the PCO, which created the COP.
Yeah, it should have a bunch of backup.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw the actual COP. Was that one a part of the backup?
Yeah, it should have
It was
been
all-
all part of the backup.
Okay. I just printed out the PCO and not the COP. Okay. And they are different animals, right?
Actually, I mean, they are, but they're not. It's another discussion. I want to get into
Number
it.
42, COP.
Right on. We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Progress photos. I have those attached coming up. We'll go through the list. As you can see here, the binder of the Riley lot curbing has been installed. I'll try to zoom in for everybody a little bit better. Curbing's in, binders down.
Parking lot, there's a parking lot and planters right there.
Right there, Jeff. Oh, good call, Jeff. I mean, the
Yeah.
drawing's right there.
It
Yeah,
does, yeah.
yep.
Mhm.
Johnny, thank you for that, by the way, buddy. Looking good. All righty, going down the list here, we have the interior brick columns installed, the first 2 going up. Obviously that brick still needs to get cleaned and washed down. They just installed it. It looks absolutely gorgeous when you come and see it in person. These pictures don't actually do it any justice at all. The final 2 columns, as you see here, are in progress. Those are going to be completed by the end of the week. As you can see, it's quite the setup, like I explained before, with the mason and their staging. Once that's removed, cleaned, and taken down, we'll be able to get our Miss Metal subcontractor in there for that stair. That'll be a nice milestone to view. Going down the list, just another shot of the interior columns. You have brick on the 3 faces. This backside that you see here with the drywall is going to receive an acoustical panel board all the way up. Interior shot of the 2nd floor, looking at the adult stack room and the quiet study area. As you can see, it's quite clean up there. We do have our full-time laborer cleaning up and making sure that the construction site is clean. A clean site is a safe site.
Is that Arisa?
That is Arisa.
Couldn't tell what they were doing.
Yes, they have a laborer here. He's fantastic. Eric is very fantastic at what he does, and he's very professional. This is the mock-up room that I talked about earlier. As you can see, ceiling grid is going in. That backside clear spot. We did have TSKP confirmed the angle on the backside to support the radiant panel. We are about a few days away from getting that radiant panel here and installed to see how all that ceiling ties together. Going down the list, this is the garage area. As you can see, all the hangers, pipe, sprinkler pipe is in. Hangers for the ceiling are in. Spray fireproofing is installed. Intumescent paint has been installed and inspected on the columns within that area. Intumescent paint is another way to a fireproofing mechanism. It's a little bit neater and cleaner than the spray. On top of this spray, you'll see is once we get some heat in the space, we'll have our spray foam insulation going on top of that spray fireproofing. So it's a double layer system. Going down the list, this is our plazas. We started construction and started taking off the forms of the ramp here. We have a little bit more concrete work done over here and stripped and formed. We're going to continue with the progress on that. And if you guys ever have a chance to take a look at it, it is quite large compared to what the drawing shows. So it is a very good space. It was designed properly. So it's going to be a nice feature of the building once it's all complete and all said and done. And here we are at the fabrication shop for Bridge Brothers, who fabricated and is delivering the bridge to be erected and installed by Berlin Steel, who is our subcontractor. We have pieces, again, are going to come in 3 pieces delivered to the site. Right now, I think what they do is they have a few of the pieces bolted together to see how everything is going to fit. There is early stages of this fabrication. It has been galvanized. It has been painted with a high performance coating from this picture. So when you see the bridge get delivered, it's going to be obviously not the bare steel. It's going to be galvanized and have a high performance coating on it.
It's white.
It's white.
It is white? Oh, okay.
Yep. And that's it. That's all I got. Anybody have any questions on the pictures or anything that I talked about?
Patrick.
Anthony, the garage ceiling, what type, are those gonna be the same panels that we saw in that room, in the
No,
mock-up room?
those are interior. These are gonna have an exterior grade with, moisture resistant
Okay.
type of product.
But you won't be able, I mean, it'll be like
It will
this,
be
like
like
you
that.
won't
It
be
will
able
be
to
like this.
see
You won't be able to
anything
see it,
above it,
correct.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a finished.
Yep.
Finished, okay, that's what I'm wondering, yeah, gotcha, okay. Yeah, very good.
Questions? More questions for Anthony? It's really nice now that the windows are all defined and there's lights in the building. The building has a nice presence at night. You can start to see, what that building does to the
What's
whole
the
area.
situation about seeing it now? Are we allowed to go and see it?
We are, we're authorized personnel. So as long as you report to the trailer, you're good.
And once the glass goes in, which is scheduled for a couple of weeks, I think.
Glass, Anthony.
Yeah, glass should be here next week. So the frames have all been delivered, the aluminum frames, on site. They're gonna start installing next week, and we should be probably a week away from glass as well. So all that temporary protection could come down, you'll have glass in, and then you'll really be able to see in at night.
Really gonna be impressive, yeah.
Give me a couple weeks.
Awesome.
Pulling the pressure on Lois.
Well,
Who's
then,
got a hand?
I've got things to
Bob,
do.
Bob, Ike?
That's right, Chair. When is the staircase, the interior staircase going in?
I would say sometime next week, Elizabeth. I gotta get the mason out of the way, cleaned up, and then the steel brought in for the stairs. So he's gonna have a half a day probably to bring all the material in, and then he's gonna start erecting it in place.
Exciting. Thank you.
And at the beginning, all the rails and the guardrail system should be up, coming up as a complete assembly. What we'll do is we'll infill those treads with insulation board because they're metal pans, they get filled with concrete, or they get filled at the end of the day. There's stone, there's tile that goes on top of it. So in order to keep it safe and keep it accessible for everybody to use, we will fill those gaps and those voids in. So it's a safe platform to walk up and down.
Okay, all right, ready. Thank you, Downsteam. Let's move on to Glenn at DPW.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I don't have a PowerPoint slide deck presented for this evening. I would encourage you at this time to actually stop over, give me a call, schedule a time to stop over. We're at the point now where we're ready to receive the furniture. I've got Interscape Commercial Environments coming in on December 9th. They're delivering the privacy pods, followed up by Red Thread with a millwork and the staff lounge. Circulation desk is coming in on the 11th, and the rest of the shelving and wood end panels and tops are going to start coming in third week of December. So since our last meeting, we've made a lot of progress. We worked through Thanksgiving. I actually came in Friday after Thanksgiving. They were supposed to prep the Connect Track system, that above slab electrical run. I walked in, they had about 25 guys there, and the carpet was installed. So I was impressed with their progress. It looks great. We do have carpet protection over that right now. We finished installing the ceiling, and that's been whited out, meaning all the tiles have been installed, all the new acoustical tiles. We did have the above ceiling inspection completed this week. There was one outstanding item for Stafford Mechanical Services, who installed the Mitsubishi ductless split unit. So they have one cable, actually the power cable, running up through the ceiling. The building official noted that it was not plenum rated. They will need to rerun that cable. So the only open area of ceiling we have right now is over the main circulation area as you walk in the west entrance. Everything else has been buttoned up, floor to ceiling, we're ready to go. The lighting retrofit, we're waiting on about 12 2x2 LED fixtures to be installed. I think at our last meeting, I told you those were shipping out on December 6th. So those should be in at the end of next week. We'll get those installed. Anderson Electric actually finished installing the EV charging stations today. I have those being commissioned right before Christmas, and we're actually doing a shutdown this coming Monday so they can install the 200 amp breaker for that service. We've got about a 3-hour power outage scheduled with Eversource. And to keep our server and IT equipment going, we're going to hook up to a little inverter Honda generator just for 3 hours. So it'll be seamless operations for the library staff at the atrium. Let's see what else is going on here. The painting, I'd say we're 95% done. We had one tabled invoice, which we're gonna, our proposal rather, that we're going to revisit this evening. I did confirm with Mackenzie Painting that the specialty wall graphics are shipping out this Friday. I expect those to be installed within 2 weeks. The park signage and wayfinding signs, thank you for approving our previous proposal with signs of all kinds. Those have been completed. They are updated and reading McMahon Wittenberry Library. The new signage looks fantastic on both Rockwell and Blue Hills Avenue. And our fire panel commissioning. I met with Sonatrol today, the subcontractor through Anderson Electric. They are at a point where we can commission the fire system. They are waiting on 2 devices, 2 heat detectors under the soffits at the east and west entrance. Those will be in about 4 weeks, but I can, however, get that panel up and running and have our contractor, by ours, I mean the town's contractor, Tech Controls, commission that panel. So I will get the required NFPA 72 report for occupancy for that life safety system. The restrooms, ADA restrooms are wrapping up. I believe all that remains is the grab bars for ADA compliance. So the tiling has been done. Everything's been buttoned up. We do have one proposal tonight from Stafford Mechanical. We've got to modify the exhaust ductwork in the restrooms. Again, that's similar to what we've done in other areas of the building to accommodate the new 2x2 ceiling grid as opposed to the old 2x4 grid. In addition to that, also this evening, I've got some proposals. I've got 3 proposals for exterior building signage. So we've got a mock-up to show you this evening. I can have Joe Maraca pull that up as we go through proposals and invoices. So we've got 3 proposals to look at. And I have been following up with the Green Bank regarding the solar panel installation. They did provide us with several options for McMahon Library specifically. However, I'm going to have to speak with DECD. So what they initially proposed was covering the rooftop, taking advantage of all the square footage we can, and then having the ground mount solar in the field just west of the parking lot. In order to accommodate the ground mount photovoltaic system, we were going to have to clear cut 1.7 acres of trees, which is a no-no. It's not going to fly with the public, the council. It kind of goes against our initiatives in town. So they're saying, what they're telling me now is that it's too small of a project. The incentives are not there for the rooftop solar. So at this time, I need to schedule an appointment with Melinda Wilson of DECD and Joe Maraca and talk about options. Little bit of disappointing news, but I can't imagine we're going to want to cut down 1.7 acres of trees for solar. I mean, I can present what I was given, and we can certainly, take a vote on that, go through council, whatever we have to do. I can't see it going far. So I'm still working on the solar. Other than that, the canopies. So I do have an upcoming meeting with Millennium Builders. I want to schedule time with you as well, Jeff, to meet with Jim York of Millennium Builders, just to go over those fine details. Perhaps we can set up a Zoom meeting later this week or early next week. Otherwise, I'm looking at really drafting an RFP for the canopies and the footings. Other than that, like I said, we're ready to receive furniture and to wrap up the project. Millennium Builders said within 2 weeks, commercial storefronts will be there. So the exterior glass work outside the children's and teen space, the masonry work has been completed at this time. So all the CMU and the exterior brick course has been completed. I'm just waiting on that glass. I knew it was going to be the first 1 to 3 weeks of December. We did anticipate that, and I am looking for that to be wrapped up within the next 3 weeks.
For questions, Glenn? Any questions for Glenn?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
On the solar, Glenn, one of the deals was anybody bidding and doing 330 Park Avenue as well as Prosser had to include McMahon. That it's a package deal.
Correct. And I guess how they split that up, they don't look at it as, they look at it still as individual jobs under that meter for the site.
Now, the deal was supposed to be, and all along was supposed to be, it's a package deal. You want, you want two, you gotta take the third.
Correct, and they do understand that, but it's hard to achieve incentives for solar installation through a third party if the kilowatt hour generation is not there.
I understand that, but everybody needs to be aware of the fact it's supposed to be, stay as a package deal. Otherwise, somebody else is gonna get a shot at it.
Correct. And I think it'd be worth, presenting what we were given by Green Bank. They presented the rooftop array and also a carport option as well for the parking lot, although they said that's very difficult to obtain. Again, with the incentives, they were really pushing for that ground mount system. I mean, we can certainly entertain that. Like I said, I don't know how popular that's going to be going that route.
My
But,
my suggestion would be that maybe need to reach out to other than Green Bank.
mhm. And I actually, funnily enough, I did hear from Adam Teff again with Titan Energy today about 330 Park. I didn't get to read through the extent of the email. It was actually during this meeting that he said we had incentives available for 330 Park Avenue. What that means, I don't know. I've got to go through his email. The last I know, we couldn't make a power purchase agreement work with Titan Gen. But again, I'm hoping to have more answers than questions at our next meeting. Between now and then, I've got to meet with Melinda Wilson of DECD, talk to Joe, really lay out all our options on the table and see where we can take it from there. For Prosser Library, I did submit, and thank you, Anthony, by the way, for responding to all my emails about load letters and capacities and so forth. I believe they did speak with RZ Design. They have the information they need. In addition to Prosser, I just submitted the last 12 month of utility bills for 330 Park Avenue as well. So between Green Bank, Titan Gen, and our resources within town, I know Jonathan Coleman has been working with me on this as well. We're trying to track this down as soon as possible. So hopefully I will have more of an optimistic update at our next committee meeting.
Okay, other questions for Patrick?
Oh, thank you, Chair. Hey, Glenn, just two quick things. So, oh, you're over there now. You just moved on the screen. So those sliding doors at the entrances, what is the status on those?
So those will be installed at the same time as the exterior glass by the children's section.
Oh, okay.
Yep, in the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks.
Yep, they're gonna mobilize and knock both out at the same time.
Right, great. Okay, then my last question is about the technology. So was Chris able to get into the building to start doing that work? I mean,
Yeah, so everything was migrated, the first phase, everything was migrated over to the new server rack. All the Cat 6 was run. We did meet with CEN and Crown Castle. So all the proprietary equipment that we're not supposed to touch as the town has been coordinated and moved over as well to the new server rack. That was actually one of the points I did want to mention this evening, was just the noise generated by that, the server rack. So we did narrow it down to, obviously the fans are a different style for the cooling. Those make a little bit of extra noise. I think we can get around that with options. There are quiet fans for server racks, but the rep from CEN did say that the equipment that would be updated is going to be, it's going to generate a few decibels. So if you were to go in there right now, you probably would not envision working in there for an extended amount of time in an office setting. It is kind of an unusual circumstance to have a combined data room / office in the same space. Usually they are completely separate temperature controls. So I do think we have an issue to address there as far as the noise and disturbance to the staff.
I thought I saw some proposals for a soundproof, soundproofing cabinet for the
Yeah,
servers.
we had initial conversations, again, very brief. We really haven't gone too in depth into discussions about it, but Jeff did kind of bring up, the other Jeff Brown, by the way, he did bring up a acoustic panel option, I believe. So we have a lot of options I think we can work with. We haven't gone too far down the rabbit hole yet as far as acoustics.
Okay, Lois?
Glenn, I just want to say it's exciting to hear what's going on and how close you're becoming to the finish.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. I
Yeah,
have,
we're very happy. I think it's gonna make a world of difference once you see that furniture in there. And I wish I could have had time to prepare the PowerPoint. I mean, the carpeting alone, they did a wonderful job. Commercial flooring, I mean, they knocked it out of the park. Like I said, I went there during Thanksgiving break and they were 3/4 done. I wasn't anticipating that. So it really helped us out.
I have one more question about the solar, and I suspect that it doesn't help a lot, but occasionally you see a solar panel on a pole which rotates with the sun. And I wondered if that gets more energy per square foot because it is rotating. Could you avoid chopping down all the trees, but also get a little bit more solar power by using that technology?
I have looked into that, just out of my own curiosity, the actuating photovoltaic panels. Unfortunately, it would follow the overshadowing of the tree canopy. So it would almost rotate at the same time, you know?
Hey, I just had an idea. I just had an idea, Glenn. I wonder if I can reach out to Cowwall. Uh, well, we're using Cowwall. I was just thinking, because I do have technology for canopies that could double as a solar collector. Look, I can do a little research. I think the ship may have already sailed with our canopies, depending on what we vote on, one or two, once we get the foundation stuff and the bids going. But I can do some side research while we're working on that and see if it's not too late, because that might be interesting, because you still have the translucency, but it's also a collector. I mean, that could be a nice little thing to have. Let me see if I can look into that, if that's something agreeable to everybody.
Plus the new technology, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't oppose having a pole in the front yard with a thing rotating around just in terms of education for the general
Well, you know,
public.
we did in Manchester, Lois, that was at the Buckley School. We did a thing called a solar flower, and it rotates in the position where the sun is, and it actually is a flower that sort of opens up and closes, and it's like a sculptural thing, and it collects energy and also is a really beautiful little object. So I can pull that together too, what we did there.
Thank you.
okay, another hand up, Joe?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I just wanted to note how much of an improvement the new signage is. And I encourage everybody to drive by, specifically the Blue Hills signage that Glenn was able to reuse from 330 Park or somewhere else. But you can, as soon as you make that turn from Cottage Grove on Blue Hills, you can really see the library where you never could see it before. So just bravo on the improved visuals for the library.
Yeah, it's amazing. The contractors know where to show up now.
Glenn, do you want to run through all of your paperwork that are not invoices, any changes and new proposals, and we'll take.
Yeah, so I saved Joe some stress, or I tried to this week. I scanned over one big package and sent it his way. So what we can do you want to look at this first or the budget? Now, the budget, what I did is I plugged in all these numbers, any proposals that we had, all the low bidders. We had one minor change order, just over $300. The proposal for the exterior illuminated signage for 8,500. Everything that's in here has been plugged into the budget. So if you want to go through this first, just keep that in mind and we can look at the numbers after this, I suppose.
Let's look at the budget first, then we'll all feel comfortable,
Approving.
saying no or yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay. All right. So going through each line item, the cells that you see in yellow pertain to things the committee has to look at and approve this evening if they want to go forward. One of those is a very minor change order. This package here represents all the electrical renovations that Anderson Electric has performed. That original bid package was $346,000. They've got, this would be the third change order totaling $6,719. The change order for approval is $332.67. That's a simple lighting relay module. So the occupancy lights in the restrooms work in conjunction with the exhaust fan. Very minor stuff. Going down, picture window, mullion capping, and black glass panel replacement. So outside of the adult reading section, facing Blue Hills Avenue, you've actually, this is the same section we replaced 2 panels of the large picture window. Just below those larger panels, you've got smaller rectangular black glass panels. One of those, as we ripped out all the vegetation and shrubs and everything away from the building, we had a closer look at everything. One of those is actually just painted plexiglass. Don't ask me, I don't know if it was just a budget repair many years ago, but not a bad idea for weatherization and also aesthetics to replace, there's 2 panels of black glass. And the mullions, it would be nice if we could cap those with aluminum. I think it's 040 aluminum. We're going to do a clear anodized capping over the window mullions. So it's going to look the same as the store frontage that's going in at the children's area. It's going to have those nice finished details. That's more or less aesthetic. The weatherization of replacing the plexiglass, I think that's definitely beneficial. So that proposal was $4,553. That was a low bid through Capital Glass. I did get a second number. We're not required to under 7,500, but I wanted to do some homework, and Capital Glass still came in at the lowest number. Restroom ductwork modification. So as I mentioned, we've got new 2x2 ceiling tiles as opposed to the 2x4 grid. So in each restroom, there's minor ductwork modification to the duct exhaust trunk coming off with flex for a new register to sit in that ceiling. Just aligning the existing ductwork with a new ceiling grid, essentially. Main entrance canopies, we still have our budget number placeholder for $100,000. So I will be in progress with writing an RFP, request for proposal, and also I want to set up a Zoom with Millennium Builders and Jeff Brown, hopefully later next week. Interior painting and wall graphics. Mackenzie Painting has finished everything except for those specialty wall graphics that are being shipped on December 6th. We also have one tabled proposal, $5,500. I did receive updated narrative for that work that was described. I believe, Lois, you had requested just some more details on what exactly that work was. So
Much better, but surprising that in the other Mackenzie painting one, they didn't give any detail at all. Again, I mean, but the original one was fine.
okay, so we will go over that. Landscaping, so that's all of the site landscaping along with the children's garden. We still have a $75,000 placeholder. Rooftop unit replacement. So I did call Eversource yesterday. The rebate check for $22,500 was sent out according to them on November 14th. I believe the postmaster is still walking to Public Works, and I expect that in the mailbox at any time now. So I will be calling them again tomorrow for a status on that. It's been to the point where I'm like, just give me a call or email me when it goes out in the mail. So I've got my finger on the pulse with that rebate check. We're counting on that for the canopies. Technology equipment. So in the notes column on the right-hand side, these are items that have been purchased along with the price. The Zono machine, scanners and printers, book lockers, and additional end-user technology. So our actuals are $64,147. We still have $48,419 in that technology budget. And I believe Chris Silowak or Allison will go over the technology budget later in this meeting. The building signage updates and exterior facade. So we have one proposal right now, which was the lowest bidder for the exterior illuminated signage facing Blue Hills Avenue through Signs of All Kinds for $8,500. The $10,900 represents the proposal for $8,500 on top of the $2,400 that was already spent to make up the new signage for the front park sign and the Rockwell Avenue wayfinding sign. So we'll take a look at the mock-up and the 3 proposals that we received for that. At the end of the day, like I said, all our low bids and the minor change order from Anderson, everything was plugged into the budget. Right now, we're sitting at $734 under budget. Our contingency, the $100,000, if you look at the note on the right-hand side, we did allocate 19,200 of that towards the atrium lease extension. So if you combine the $80,800 along with our anticipated rebate check from Eversource, we're looking at a contingency of $103,300 plus the 734. So that's where we're sitting financially right now.
Questions on the budget? All right, let's
Looks good.
take these items one at a time here. Glenn?
Okay, I'll stop sharing. And then, Joe, did you want to pull up that scanned package through email? What's the easiest for you?
Got it right here.
Okay. Okay, so the first proposal was from Stafford Mechanical. This is for the restroom exhaust ductwork modification to fit the new 2x2 ceiling grid. That modification work would total $1,170.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? Comments? All in favor of the Stafford Mechanical Services proposal, $1,170, please say aye.
Aye.
We are unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion passes.
Yeah, and that's just a quick visual there of what they need to modify. All right, we can scroll down to.
You want to see that or no?
No.
Okay.
Moving along.
Okay, and Mackenzie Painting. So this was the previously tabled proposal for $5,500. They went ahead and put additional narrative and a breakdown of labor and materials. This was for the adult reading section. All the window mullions, the trim, the convector covers, a lot of preparation work and finish work to make those finishes look decent and match the rest of the interior.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Lois. Questions? Comments?
Please thank them for doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll keep that in mind for anything else that comes up. You know, if I get one of those proposals that's a little vague, I'll get it corrected before we meet.
Okay, all in favor of the Mackenzie painting proposal, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. And then scrolling down, this is Signs of All Kinds. So this was the low bidder for the illuminated signage, the exterior facade facing Blue Hills Avenue. Right below that, if you scroll down, we should have the mock-up for that.
So moved.
Okay. So this is what it would look like. You know, we really want to stress. And I met with Elizabeth on this and Jeff from Signs of All Kinds to get some ideas. And McMahon Wittenberry really overtook the signage. Like I said, you drive by this real quick on Blue Hills, you didn't know it was a library. So we tried to emphasize that in the new signage. It is LED on track. It will be illuminated at night. Front lit, not a halo, so not from the back. This will be a front lit LED 5000K, so you're going to be able to see it.
So moved.
Okay,
Mr. Reich, second by Mr. Berman.
and
Elizabeth, big smile here.
is everyone okay with that, the style of the text and everything that's, um,
I actually
Any-
think the McMahon Wittenberry could be one step bigger. I wouldn't have it be larger than the library, but it's so much smaller to my eye that it seems kind of like an asterisk.
On the building itself, yeah.
Here's the dimensions,
Yeah, I just, to my eye, I wish that the
13 inches high.
names were just one step bigger, closer to.
yeah, so I think it's,
4.5.
well, because it's roughly, McMahon Wittenberry is roughly 1 foot tall, right? And then the library is 2 feet tall, those characters. So I think it's a little misleading on the mock-up, but it's essentially half the size of library.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I can have Jeff with signs of all kinds, maybe do a different rendering.
That's what it needs to be. That's what it needs to be. Just to my eye, it looks pretty small.
This looks, to me, they're closer than they look there.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
doing the same thing again.
Well, what I see on the screen looks smaller than when I look at, what they put, sign they proposed in it. Oh, no, that's artifacts.
Yeah.
I take it back. Wrong one.
Yeah, I think that's the best they're gonna do with that rendering, but like I said, McMahon Wittenberry, it looks misleading, but it will be half the size of the word library, so it will be
Yeah.
larger than that.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, I think the relationship and the length, of the upper string and the word library is good. If we were to make it bigger,
then McMahon Wittenberry's gonna be.
yeah, kind of hanging over it.
Hanging over the library.
Plus with the new park signage too, I mean, there's no question that it's McMahon Wittenberry Library. It screams at you on Blue Hills Avenue now.
Once that's lit, I think it's gonna stand out a little more.
Plus it will be illuminated.
And I don't care that much. But that's what I'll always think when I go by.
Yeah,
All right.
no, I see what you're
Any other
saying.
questions or comments before we vote? All right, all in favor of accepting this proposal and this design, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Well, then I'm gonna assume you don't wanna go through all of the other.
No, so we've got the same exact thing.
Last.
Yep, there's Sign Pro, there it is again, and then there's several pages from ArtFX.
Yep.
Okay. Capital Glass, so this was, trying to look at it here. Okay, so for the adult reading area, the area where we replaced 2 picture windows, we had the black glass panels to replace on the bottom and then cap the existing wood with the aluminum, the clear anodized aluminum to really dress that up. I did gather several quotes for that. Capital Glass came in at the lowest for $4,552.71. I would definitely do it from even a thermal HVAC standpoint. It's not the best insulating material. I can't believe they actually painted a piece of plexiglass as opposed to installing a window. It is my suggestion that we go forward with replacing that.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve
So
this?
moved. So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Patrick. Thank you very much. Questions?
And I think if you scroll down, there's a picture there too.
Yeah, there is.
Okay,
It's under the other one though, not with this one.
okay.
Questions?
Sorry, the orientation is different, but those down arrows are pointing to the black glass panels that have to be replaced. And then, so all the mullions are gonna be capped with a clear anodized, so it's gonna be a nice aesthetic, match the children's area and just, be weather tight. So,
Okay.
all right,
All in favor of the motion, accept the proposal from Capital Glass, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, and what do we have next here? John Filaramo. So this was the masonry patching in the staff lounge for the plumbing rough-in move. They had to reface the CMU wall, $1,500.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike, seconded
Second.
by Mr. Berman. Thank you very much. Questions? All right, all in favor of accepting the John Felleramo Construction Company work for
Aye.
$50, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, and again, John Filaramo. This was for the picture window rough-in work, that exterior CMU and brick wall. They created the rough-in opening and installed the lintel for the new picture window in the amount of $7,400.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? Comments? All in favor of approving the John Felleramo Construction invoice? Well, this is an invoice. This is,
Yeah, we've been doing the last couple of words.
okay, they were invoices.
Yes.
For $7,400, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, and followed up with Advanced Performance Glass. This is the picture window installation in the staff office for $2,300.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike. Seconded by
Second.
Patrick. Thank you. Questions?
For these items that are invoices, they've already been approved by us, right?
The work has,
The
yes.
work. We approved the work previously. So we're approving payment.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't realize we had moved on to invoices, but that's what we're doing, yes. Questions? All in favor of approving APG's invoice, the amount of $2,300, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
The invoice is starting with John Filaramo. That was his first
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, and Mackenzie Painting, this was their progress for the interior painting for the month of November, $14,058.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Berman. So this is progress.
This
in
is
your
progress
contract.
payment on the contract.
Glenn, I have a question.
Sure.
When they relate it to a particular purchase order, that means the detail of what they're doing is in the purchase order,
Correct.
so they feel comfortable just giving you the dollar amount.
Yes. Yep, based on progress. Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, all in favor of, this is from who? Mackenzie Painting. All in favor of Mackenzie Painting invoice, $14,058, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, the next is for Stafford Mechanical. This was the modification of all the existing ductwork. Again, for those supply grills to fit the new 2x2 ceiling grid installation in the amount of $3,265.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Burns. This is not contract work. This is additional work.
This is not contract work, correct?
Questions? All in favor of the Stafford Mechanical Services invoice for $32.85? Please say aye.
Aye.
265.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, the next invoice again is Stafford Mechanical Services for the completion of the installation of the new Mitsubishi ductless split unit, the cassette unit in the teen room, and the two cooling units for each vestibule, in the amount of $19,960.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. This is under the PO contract work.
Thank you.
Any questions? All in favor of approving Stratford Mechanical Services invoice for $19,960. Thank you very much.
Stafford.
Stafford, thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye. All right, we're unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll get it right eventually.
Okay, and signs of all kinds. This was for the new fabrication of the signage panels for the park sign and wayfinding signage. Under a PO, $2,400.
So moved.
By Mr. Wright.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Berman. So this is new work.
This was approved at the past committee meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is under PO.
Yep.
Questions? All in favor of approving signs of all kinds invoice for $2,400, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, and the last item here is a change order request from Anderson Electrical. This is for the installation of a relay module for the restroom exhaust fan. So how it should function, it was on its own circuit before, it ran 24/7. It will now be integrated with the occupancy lighting in each restroom. That'll trigger the exhaust fan to come on. That's how it should run. So $332.67 for the installation of the relay module for the exhaust fan.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Berman. All right, all in favor of approving this change order in the amount of $322.67, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Got all your paperwork, Glenn?
I believe I have one more invoice that was separate from this package, Joe, again for Anderson Electric. It was a,
It's on the screen.
Oh, great. This is the.
all right, perfect.
This is a biggie.
Yeah.
Yep, this is their progress payment for all of the completed electrical renovation work at this time, which I have verified. The second page, if you go down to, it'll show the payment schedule, the comparison of the scheduled values. I did verify this and had gone over it with the electrical foreman. So I did verify that this work has been completed. This invoice was $148,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Berman. Questions?
Is this the final invoice, Glenn?
No.
No, there's more.
No, nope.
Okay.
This brings us to, what does that say, 73% complete?
Oh, okay, I missed that, yeah.
Yeah, it's still about 95 grand.
Any other
Yeah.
questions? All in favor of the Anderson invoice for $148,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're set, right, Glenn?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna put my cell phone number in the comments. If anyone wants to come over and see the progress, I definitely encourage you to see what's going on. Call me anytime. I'm totally flexible and look forward to meeting you over there.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
We appreciate all the work.
Mhm.
It's
Good job.
showing itself very nicely.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to TSKP. Jeff is here.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying I'm pretty impressed with how much work Glenn is doing and what he's been up to. So good job, Glenn. It's going to be a nice
Scott,
library.
cannot offer him a job till this job is completed.
Good.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah, but I got to come by too and walk it with you soon. So we'll
Yeah.
schedule this Millennium Builders meeting too. All right. So Prosser, the only thing I have is I got a site observation report that's probably coming out soon. Probably walk by the site one more time and take some more measurements and photos. Other than that, the furniture bid documents and specifications went out on November 26th. We expect the bids from the furniture to come back in on December 17th. And Jeanette and her team will review I'm sure I'll be helping out with that from December 18th to January 7th. So that'll give us some time to fully vet those bids. And then so January 8th, Jeanette has asked me that I guess we'll have a special meeting potentially to present to the committee the results of that vetting.
That,
Other than
can't
that,
be, that Jeff, that decision can't be made until it goes by, DECD. They
Okay.
also, it also has to go by our town attorney and our town, manager.
Okay.
So that 8th is probably gonna go out another week.
All right. So that's all I have.
Well, maybe we can, is it possible? You're saying your vetting is gonna take till this, January 7th?
Yeah, I was
We're
asking her,
just saying
there's
that
a,
because we potentially have a meeting on the 8th.
yeah.
In other words, maybe can your vetting occur sooner so that we can get it to DECD sooner than later, and et cetera, et cetera.
Gotta go to the town attorney.
Well, I think,
Town
well,
attorney.
the thing is, I think Jeanette had sent the schedule out to everybody already, right? Given the holidays and everything, I was pushing to see if I can get those, you know, I mean, it doesn't give a lot of time. I mean,
No.
there's gonna be a lot of vetting we have to do, so even the
Okay.
18th to
No,
the
just,
7th is,
Just trying to push it along, that's all.
We'll try to move it along as soon as we can through the town manager and through the town attorney, but it's gotta go through that step.
okay. So just keep us posted, Joe.
Of course.
Okay. Questions for Jeff?
And just so you know, we have received questions from, providers of the FF&E.
Bidders.
Yeah,
Good.
so
They're
they're
paying
rolling
attention.
in, so.
Okay. All right, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Let's go to Sean from Colliers.
Share my screen. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My report is similar to, as always, Tri-State continues to test the mortar and the masonry. I could probably take cold form steel off here. That installation's complete. I do have the Tri-State invoices that you received. I did put them all in one packet for you guys. And I reviewed all the invoices. We matched up all the reports with the dates on the invoices. So that's all been vetted out. Do you want to do that at the end when you do your invoices? Or do you want?
Yeah, when you're done with your,
Okay.
we'll move right into that, yeah.
There is also Michael Horton Associates. They're the special testing of records, so they review all those, the reports from Tri-State. They continue to review those, and all the reports are submitted to the building official. I believe there's also a invoice from Michael Horton Associates
Right.
in there as well. As Anthony mentioned, Van Zelm's the commissioning agent. They've been involved in the process, and they've been attending the meetings and working in conjunction with the subconsultants and the installers on site. And then in terms of move management, I did meet with the library staff today, so we will continue to update that schedule for move-in as we collect more information and keep refining it as hopefully when the FF&E package gets awarded, then we can start refining some of those dates, breaking the furniture into different packages and getting more detail.
Yeah, because we're already looking at something after January 8th for committee approval.
Right.
On that. So those dates are still moving. And the ultimate question is going to be, are we okay as planned at the atrium?
Right, and that is starting to slip a little, just based on where we're at now with the FF&E schedule. So the
Right.
more that slips, the more the whole thing will slip a little
Right,
bit.
so we got to keep a watchful eye on that.
Yep, and we're tracking that, and we're trying to, think of ways to hopefully break down that package. Like I said, maybe office furniture might come sooner, maybe the library stacks. But the big thing that I see right now is the books would have to come off the shelf in the atrium going to Prosser. And if those shelves aren't assembled yet, we have that limbo time where what do we do with the books in between?
Yeah, so we're looking to avoid that.
Yeah, I did speak with WB Meyer about the potential of putting them on carts and leaving them on carts that we could roll around our process. They said it wouldn't really be cost effective for us, the amount it would cost for the town to rent those carts. You'd be better off boxing the books and having them store them for 6 weeks and then bring them over. I was using 6 weeks just based on our current numbers, but again, a lot of that stuff's still in flux. Just things to kind of think about in the back of our heads until we finalize some of these vendors.
Okay. Okay. Questions for Sean?
Mr. Chair.
Patrick.
Sean, so with regard to McMahon Wintonberry, how is our schedule there? Because it sounds like we're a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that schedule is very good. Glenn's done great
Yeah.
with that. As you mentioned, the furniture's coming. It gives them a little more breathing room. Now that we've extended that atrium to where it's at, they have time to get that set up. Chris has made a great deal of progress already with that. So, it's potentially that will be opening, kind of a soft opening.
Okay.
And then, there's decisions to be made there as well. Right now, one of the things Glenn is proposing is asphalt paving in the parking lot in April.
Yes.
So that would kind of overlap with the atrium as it stands right now. So again, all discussions, that we can have about that, the atrium lease.
But if Meyer moves,
Oh, I see. Oh, from a Meyer perspective?
yeah.
So the idea now was, because most of the furniture is new for McMahon, so there's not a lot moving from the atrium to McMahon. And there's a lot of new books coming. So they would set up the new books there and hold off on moving the old books over
Okay.
as long as the atrium stays open.
Makes sense because
So-
most of that collection belonged to McMahon
Correct.
Wintonberry. My understanding, Elizabeth can correct me.
So as right now, the idea is we would only have WB mayors come in the one time when they were
Yeah.
ready and move it to both
Both
libraries
at the same,
time.
yeah.
That's not to say that McMahon couldn't be up and running before that.
Mhm.
It just wouldn't have the full collection.
Right. We would have most all the books.
Yep. But it
New
would
books.
still, it could still offer services.
And yeah, they could get it from the atrium if they need it.
Yep.
Yeah, that answered my question. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Lois, did you?
I'll ask him
You're
when
good.
we get to the invoices.
Okay. Questions? No? Why don't we run through your invoices there, Sean?
Do you want me to share them, Joe?
They're kind of like in the middle of the stuff, so can we do the invoices and do his when we get to them, or
Sure. Or
is that okay?
Yeah, well, we can take them in a different order. Okay,
I'll
We'll go back
stop
to that.
sharing.
so let's go on to invoices in general then. From Joe.
Okay. Our first invoice for the atrium for the rent for December of 16,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Reich, seconded by Mr. Berman. Any questions? All in favor of the atrium invoice for $16,000, please say aye.
Aye.
We are, any nays? We heard everybody. Okay, we're unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you.
Michael Horton, for the special inspector for 950.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Berman.
I have no
Questions?
idea what he did.
Yeah.
Well, he reviews the reports from Tri-State. So I can attach his special statement of special inspections.
I just, if,
Colors approved, review.
just put a line in there to approve the submissions from Tri-State.
If you go down a little bit, Joe,
Yeah, for special inspections performed.
yeah, Colliers, Colliers went over everything.
And
Yeah.
they review, I don't put them on here unless they review.
Yeah, maybe for next time, Sean, can you just put this in perspective with his overall fee and,
Okay.
you know, where we stand?
Sure. It's okay if it's a note from me, or do you need them to revise the invoice?
I don't think they need to revise the invoice.
Sure.
Well, or they can put an attachment, I ask them to put an attachment on, where they stand overall in relation to all their services
Okay.
as special inspector.
Sure.
That would be helpful. Other questions? All in favor of the Michael Horton invoice for $950, please say aye.
Aye.
We are unanimous. Thank you. Motion passes.
Yeah, so I didn't know if you need to approve each one individually, or you could go right off. I gave you a cover sheet for your
I'll
convenience.
take a motion to approve all of them at once
So moved.
by Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Berman. Questions?
I have a technical question. There was in each of these a little square on the right-hand side relating to a particular invoice, which was apparently reviewed by someone named Aya El
Yep.
Namar.
She works with me.
Yeah, we introduced her last week,
Yeah.
at the last month, last meeting.
Well, where is she? Because I'm thinking she's in China or someplace. Because these things are, the time frame on these are 1 o'clock in the morning, for example. On December 2nd at 1 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the evening on December 1st. I mean, I thought.
Yeah,
maybe-
This is me, Aya. I just the time I saved them on, I had already reviewed them, but I forgot to like save them on my computer. So by the time I saved them, that's why the timing was a little bit off. But
I thought you must be in China doing
I'm
this.
not. I'm not in China now.
I thought this is a real international effort.
Yeah, no, no. I'm in Hartford, Connecticut. So
Did I say you go to bed too late? That would be my next.
yeah, no.
She's young, she doesn't need sleep.
Other questions? All right, all in favor of approving payment for materials testing invoice packet dated 12/4/2024, total of $16,639, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have unanimous vote. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, we have a TSKP for services through November 30th. And this one is for McMahon Library for 45/21/40.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Berman. Questions?
So who's approved this? Who's reviewed this?
Same people,
I
same,
reviewed that one.
there's a review thingy, right, hang on. a little bit up.
And this is the
Okay.
last payment?
For-
No.
No, there's, yeah.
This brings Taisu Kim up to 95% complete on McMahon.
But FF&E is at 80.
Well, this is only payment for the.
I see.
their-
Okay.
their
Oh, for
work on
Taisu Kim.
McMahon.
Gotcha.
Right,
Gotcha.
95%. I just want to make sure we're good to the end here for McMahon. There shouldn't be much else.
Yeah, I know. What else do they do?
Yeah, I mean, we still have the children's area.
Looks like they have a 2750 additional charge in there for a low voltage system. If you read through here, right here, basic services lump sum. Amendments 47R and 8 plus additional services of 2750. So that's the only thing that I see in there that's different.
Well, those are previously approved, right?
Oh, that's already down.
Yeah, it's down here.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's in the accounting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, maybe we can have a separate discussion about both projects at some point here.
Yeah, I know I know that Richter and Segan, is looking at the children's reading area, the outdoor reading area, which is not within this item.
But I don't
But
see,
other than that, yeah, we probably should take a look at what we do have for remaining work at McMahon.
because this looks like this is the last payment.
No, if you see under percent complete, 95%.
He said
Percentage is right there,
95.48.
That's the only line that's being built.
Yeah.
I mean, many of the lines
This
are.
one's at 80.
I
100%.
got it now.
Yeah.
I was looking at previous billings
And
and
we've
their
got-
fee.
Right, and we've got FF&E is at 80%, but
80%.
nothing's been built on this.
Okay,
Right.
good, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor of approving TSKP studio invoice for McMahon for $4,521.40, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
And a similar invoice, but for Prosser, which comes to 42,834. And again.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Berman. So our line items here are construction administration, brings us to roughly 88% complete. And FF&E 75% complete. And
That's it.
That's
the,
it.
Plaza wall, additional services of $3,600, which had been previously approved but not built. Not built completely, I would say. So that's it. Questions? All in favor of the TSKP invoice for Prosser? Can't see the total there.
I'm sorry.
43.
42,834 and 40 cents. Please say aye.
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 We are unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion passes.
And Chris, did you want to walk us through these?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple stuff. It's the point of sale stuff from CDWG, receipt printers, some barcode scanners, and then the second invoice here, same PO, is for a laser printer.
So there's two invoices here, one for 1,084.97.
Correct. And then the other one's 728.
728.89, but let's do the first one first and then the second one second.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Ike, second by Mr. Berman. Questions? All in favor of the CDWG invoice for $1,084.97, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are unanimous on that. Thank you. Motion passes.
And
Another
it'll-
CDWG.
This is for the
Do we have
laser.
a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Patrick. Questions? All in favor of CDWG invoice, the amount of $728.69. Please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
And no problem. And if anyone had any questions on that budget that was sent around for technology, just let me know. But not much changed from the last meeting. Mostly good news. We saved a little bit on a few items on the computers and on the lockers. We actually ended up almost saving the amount, that 5,000 we were over, because they estimated so high on the delivery and installation. So when I got the actual final quote, it was a lot less.
Very good.
Yeah. Saving money's good.
Right. All right. Again, thank you, Chris. And Joe, are we?
That's all the invoices we have. The only thing left next on the agenda was the meetings, I guess.
Well, we have any other
Other
items?
items.
I was gonna just check in with Elizabeth on our, where we are with signs, and we're working on that.
Yeah.
Signs at Prosser.
Yes, we are going to be, I will be sending out an invitation for us to meet. Chris and Allison and I have had preliminary conversations after receiving the plans from Downs and TSKP yesterday. So be on the lookout.
And we have direction from town council, so we should be in good shape.
Was it the final motion? What's the direction?
They did pass, we should get the wording on that. Yeah, exactly. But it
There
did
was
pass.
advisory, I thought, after consultation. Library board.
No, that's on the first floor.
Yeah.
That was renaming for, naming the
Yeah.
first floor for sure. But the library itself is being Prosser Library.
Yes, I understood
Right.
that, but I think we should see what the motion says.
Right, but I think on our own effort to work with, library board of trustees and even the historical society as well. Because I think in the end, from this process, we'll go to town council and give them our recommendation on how to implement their intent here.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chair. I didn't fully elaborate. I only heard the first part of your question earlier. But we are also talking about ways to celebrate both Mr. Suggs and Mr. Prosser on the first floor. Over the break, I was able to visit the Schwartzman building of New York Public Library, which is their flagship institution, in which they pay homage to many of the luminaries that were involved in New York Public Library's history. So as we continue to work through that, we are going to be looking at best practices in respect to both libraries, cultural institutions, and museums. And I think we're going to be able to come up with a really great recommendation on how to move forward with making as many people as satisfied with the final result as possible.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you. Okay, any other items from the committee? Mr. Berman,
Chair, I'd like to bring up the issue of our meeting dates for 2025.
that's on the
It's on the
agenda,
agenda for later.
2025.
No, I see it. I take that back.
We're just about there.
Just a comment that, again, we know we're gonna run into some more issues that are gonna cost us some money. The potential for having to stay in the atrium a little bit longer might exist, depending on what happens with FF&E for Prosser. The timing on that, so I think I want everybody to be aware of the fact we might not be able to be out by April 30th from the atrium, so that means there's $16,000 additional. We'll have to make sure we have them. And I know I sound like a broken record, but we don't know what else is gonna rise up and confront us in terms of additional expenses as we get closer and closer. Something is bound then to give us an issue. It always does. And we're gonna need to be careful on the contingencies. That's it.
Okay, appreciate that. Anything else from committee members? All right, so let's talk about our future meetings. We have a regular meeting scheduled for 1 week from tonight, which will not be necessary, so we'll be canceling that, which raises the question of whether we could have a meeting 2 weeks from tonight, which would be the 18th. Any feedback from Anthony? Any reason you need to?
We have the requisitions. I think they won't be in that early from the subcontractors. I might have some COPs, but there's no reason why those COPs can't be brought to the table.
Okay.
The next time.
Because we're really looking at, without a meeting on the 18th, then our next meeting would be after New Year's. We'll talk about that with our 2025 schedule, but Glenn, any reason for a meeting on the 18th?
No, at this point, there's nothing I have to pass by the committee. So I'm comfortable with meeting after the new year.
Okay, so that looks like anybody else have a reason we should be meeting again in December?
Mark, I hope not, but there is a chance that we may have some more technology requests. We think it might be able to wait for January, but I know Chris is looking to perhaps finalize some items earlier. We should have more information on that by early next week.
Okay, well, just, keep in touch, and if we need to call a special meeting, we'll we'll do that.
Technology for where?
But, yeah, which,
I believe Prosser.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
okay.
I know he had it on the radar though.
Well, if we have a single items, special meeting, I'm sure we can get a quorum together for that. And otherwise, we're into 2025. So Joe has prepared the list for next year. I took a look at it. I think it is respectful of holidays, and we also took a leap of faith that after June, we'd be meeting, our regular meetings are monthly and not every 2 weeks. It's easy enough to call special meetings. So Joe has filed this at the request of the town clerk. Not that it can't be changed.
We can amend it.
Amended.
Yeah, we can amend it.
Yeah, it's not an issue. So it sounds like January 15th may be our appropriate next meeting, given the FF&E situation. And we move onward. So can we have a,
Mr. Chairman, I'll move approve the meeting dates for 2025 is submitted to the committee tonight.
Second.
by Mr. Ike? Thank you very much. Any other discussion on that?
One,
Patrick?
yeah, so February, we only have one meeting in February?
Because if you followed the schedule the way this was every other week, that fell
Yeah.
on a holiday.
Yeah, it was a holiday.
Okay.
And just a comment that the chair is being generous and figuring we're going to be done by September.
Let's all pull the oars together and be done by
Hopefully not.
September. Okay.
I love that. Yes.
Yes, that's, it's not always in our control, but we'll do our best. Okay, we have a motion on the floor here. Any other questions? All in favor of approving the 2025 meeting schedule as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
You're unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Pat? Any members of the public wish to speak? Do we have members of the public out there?
There aren't any.
We bored everybody to death. They've all gone on vacation already. Okay, so I want to wish everybody a great holiday season and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Well, we're
So
getting
it's
there.
great. Yeah, we are getting there. We're going to be into a new year. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you. I'm gone for 2 weeks now. How about that? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Clark, seconded by Mr. Ike. All in favor, please say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
This not home, don't you?
I do.
So what's?
I was a little surprised.
It's linked